a clash for the ages, which should, by all rights, be a final. Instead, it's a quarter-final where one of these rugby titans will go through to the semis and the other one will go home. Ireland against New Zealand, two of the topmost teams in world rugby today. Coverage of the Rugby World Cup continues here on the Coach's Corner, and you are all welcome. Yes, people, welcome once again to the corner, and the title says it all. Ireland against New Zealand, live from the Stade de France in Paris. And we see both teams now walking out, so very soon it will be time for the national anthems. And I can tell you from the team news of Ireland that there are no changes to the team. It's very much the same team which beat Scotland in the last pool game to secure their spot at as pool winners. And among the subs, there is one change. Instead of Andrew McCloskey, it is O'Brien who takes his place as the backup fullback. But time for the anthems, and so I am muting Ireland's Call and Aotearoa. This could very well be the last time that one of these national anthems will be sung at the tournament. And not too long from now, Aaron Smith, the scrum half, will be leading the side in the haka. And that will give me enough time to run through New Zealand's 15. At fullback, of course, it is legendary Bowden Barrett, one of 3 Barretts in the starting lineup. Will Jordan and Lester Fainganuku will be the backs alongside him. Rieko Ione and Geordie Barrett are the centres. And Richie Mounga will be the fly half with Aaron Smith as scrum half. Ethan de Groot will be the loose head prop. Tyra Lomax at number 3, the tight head. And the experienced Cody Taylor will be the hooker. Ooh, just in time for the haka. I'll have to just... The always impressive haka, but unfortunately, Aaron Smith's screaming wasn't really taken up. I think it was drowned out by the noise in the crowd. So as I said, coming to the front row, it is Ethan de Groot at loose head, Tyra Lomax at tight head with Cody Taylor as hooker in between. There's no place for Sam Whitelock in the starting lineup, but it is Brodie Retallick with over 100 caps to his name, alongside Scott Barrett, who will be the 2 locks. Shannon Frizzell is the blindside flanker with captain Sam Kane as open side, and vice captain R.D. Surveyor will be the number 8, rounding off the starting lineup. And in the substitute on the substitute bench, we've got Dane Coles, who should be the backup hooker, along with Tamati Williams and Fletcher Newell. So that's your backup front row there. As mentioned, Samuel Whitelock does find a place on the bench as a backup lock, with Dalton Papali'i expected to be one of the backups to the back row forwards. Finlay Christie will be Aaron Smith's replacement. Damien McKenzie should be a backup to either the centre or one of the backs, and Anton Leonard Brown should be backing up the number 15 or 14 or 11. And so Sexton did, in fact, win the toss. Confirmation of the subset. So Johnny Sexton did, in fact, win the toss, and they've opted to kick off. And they will be attacking from what looks to be... We'll just take a look and see once it settles down. A wonderfully full Stade de France tonight. And I'm really glad that Sony Sports have agreed to show this instead of yet another mundane European qualifier. Because, look, Ireland versus the All Blacks in the rugby, you can't miss it. Wayne Barnes, Matthew Carley, Christoph Ridley, and Tom Foley, an all-English official lineup. And Ireland, of course, are going to be attacking from right to left. And Sexton has the ball and is about to kick off right now. Well, not right now yet, but we will get into it. But, of course, a big match for Bundyaki, the number 12, who was born in New Zealand, but now very much for the Irish cause. And Sexton does, in fact, kick off a high kick straight in, and it is the number 4, Retallick, who catches it and goes straight to ground. Smith now is able to gather that and release that, but it goes along the ground. However, R.D. Surveyor is able to get that fairly well enough, and penalty against Ireland, I think, for coming in at the side. And let me just change the scoreline for a bit. Not really coming for the side, but off feet there. So number 12, Geordie Barrett, the centre, has the chance to kick it into touch, and it's a sort of a sideways kick, which goes into touch before the halfway line, but at least it does release a little bit of pressure. And I'll get to the comments right now. Stepsy Hatter in the building. Evening to you, mate. Nipun Sharma says hello. And Chelsea fan, of course, one of our regulars. Big up to everyone here. And Hanno saying, come on, the All Blacks. And that's a line-out one. And not really the best of passing, but Geordie Barrett is able to retrieve that and go through. Aaron Smith releases it. And that is kicked high in the air, but a very risky kick indeed. And it bounces out of a group of hands, and it is the Irish number 13, Gary Ringrose, who claims that. But Wayne Barnes has signalled another penalty, and we're going to find out in whose favour it is. Well, Ringrose once again rising high, and it looks as though it was Jordan who tried to impede him. Excellent work with the ball there from Geordie Barrett, trying to move forward. And going straight into the Irish defence. In fact, it is a penalty against Ireland. So it's a New Zealand scrum. And Aaron Smith has the chance to potentially start an attack. And New Zealand boasting a pack weight of 906 kilograms, 12 kilograms lighter than their Irish counterparts. But again, it's all about how well the pack moves. And effectively, not the best looking scrum. I think Ireland was sort of trying to move away from that. But Wayne Barnes, wise to that, saying, sorry, there's no way that you can do that. Andrew Porter, the loosehead prop there with his trademark shaved sides and the mullet. And Geordie Barrett, the fly half there, kicking that into touch at a much nicer distance. And I believe it was Andrew Porter who was penalised for standing up there in the prop. So we find out what's going on over there. I'll just... And Hanno will be joining in for the half-time. But another line-out one by New Zealand. And New Zealand are moving very well with the ball indeed, right into the Ireland half. Surveyor, the vice-captain, trying to move forward, but pushed back. But it is Cody Taylor, the hooker, who's able to try and move forward. Sam Cane now, the All-Black captain. Rucks everywhere. And not too much in terms of forward movement, but New Zealand are nothing if not relentless, and they're certainly going in hard at the Irish. Aaron Smith releasing it to Sam Cane. Geordie Barrett. Smith again, this time out to De Groot. And that looked almost a forward pass, but Smith getting away with that one there to Rico Ione. The number 6, Frizzell, trying to move forward. Into the 9th phase now of New Zealand's forward movement. Taylor moving forward. Surveyor. Out to Jordan and then Geordie Barrett. Surveyor now to Taylor. This is some great movement from the New Zealanders. And Ireland are having to be at the top of their game. But terrific passing now. Much improved from some of their earlier displays. The number 6, Frizzell. But Ireland's defence pushing him back, and well, it looked as though Ireland had gotten the ball back, but was forced out. Smith to Ione, who's able to try and move forward. Smith again releasing it, this time to De Groot. Out to Frizzell. This time to Taylor. Barrett has it, but pretty much pushed back. Smith again, releasing it. Surveyor, Smith. And that is Faganaku who's trying to move forward. Frizzell. Still can't quite get forward because Ireland are holding them back, but New Zealand are trying to find a way forward. Retallick, who's in for Whitelock. Smith out to Jordan. Smith once again, this time to Surveyor. Phase 25 already. Wonderful work from New Zealand, but great defensive work from Ireland. This is attacking and defensive rugby at its best, ladies and gentlemen. Smith out to Kane. Captain Kane. Cody Taylor brought to ground. Smith out to Surveyor. They're getting closer, the All Blacks. And they're really forcing Ireland to work really hard defensively. And Wayne Barnes signaling for the ball to be released. And pass forward. And Jordan was running for it, but just missed out on that. So it took 30 phases and a forward pass, very nearly releasing Will Jordan there for a possible try. But some good work there from the Irish defence, and that goes begging. But it is a penalty against Ireland for not rolling away from the ruck. So New Zealand will have a chance to kick for a few points, and that gives me a chance now to make a banner. Yeah, this is, of course, the score for now. Ireland 0, New Zealand 0, but this could change. New Zealand could be on the board with 7 minutes having just elapsed. And we're going to find out who's taking this kick. Of course, it is the New Zealand fly half, Richie Mo'unga, who kicks New Zealand ahead. And New Zealand already showing a lot of aggression, forcing the Irish defence to play a little bit desperately, as it were. A penalty rightly given by Wayne Barnes for not rolling away. And now Ireland have got to come back and come back hard. And Sexton marshalling his troops, obviously hoping to avoid a repeat of the absolute shocker earlier today with Wales going out to Argentina by a final score of 17-29. Wales were 10-6 up at half-time, but Argentina came back quite magnificently and went on to break the hearts of Warren Gatland and the Welsh boys. I think it's fair to say that as a fan, I'm not too fond of Gatland as a coach in the way he conducts himself. He does come across as being a little bit awkward and abrasive at times. He has been a great coach for Wales. I wonder if he will be allowed to continue in the job after the World Cup, or maybe if it might be time for the Welsh Rugby Union to say, you know what, Warren, you've been wonderful for us, but it's time for us to move on and try something different. Well, after the tip-off, there was obviously an attempt by New Zealand to clear it, but Ireland now have the ball and can try and move forward. It is Bondiaki, born in New Zealand, of course. Gibson Park passing it out to Sexton. And Ringrose trying to play ring around the rose with the New Zealand defence, but being stopped in his tracks. But Gibson Park, once again, has the still not able to release the ball as of yet. And I think Barnes has said, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm going to find out what the infringement is. I believe it was... well, certainly the ball wasn't being released, and I think Mo'unga was the guilty party. And now Sexton has a chance to kick the ball into touch, and he does so right at the 5-yard line. Andrew Farrell, of course, a former England international in rugby union, but now coach of Ireland, proudly singing Ireland's call. And of course, there is a New Zealand-Ireland connection in the form of Joey Schmidt, who coached Ireland for quite some time, but has since been a part of the New Zealand setup. Dan Sheehan with the line out, and that line out has been, well, it was almost lost, but after a great deal of, volleyball, as it were, it's back with Ireland. And it is the number 4, Taj Ben, who tries to run forward. Gibson Park out to Andrew Porter. Very close to New Zealand goal line. Gibson Park right out to Keenan. And some pretty poor handling there from James Lowe, and that goes out for a line out. So Ireland now starting to feel a bit of the pressure, maybe. And that pass over there, not quite the best, and pretty much a case of Jason Lowe being a little bit too casual with his handling. But Ireland did have a chance to try and score, and they couldn't do so. So it is Cody Taylor to take yet another New Zealand line out. And it's won comfortably enough. Smith passing it out. Smith still has to try and release the ball. And he does, but a nice hook kick up in the air, hoping to send that into touch, but James Lowe saying, not today, mate. And Ireland are now trying to move forward. Hugo Keenan. Gibson Park releases it. Knocked out of Doris's hands, but Gibson Park is able to kick that forward. Takes an awkward bounce, but Mo'unga says that's mine. And Geordie Barrett is able to send that to touch right at the halfway line. So some pretty good... well, there might have been Bowden Barrett who kicked that into touch. I don't know. It's bad enough I get the shirt numbers quite wrong. Getting the players wrong is even worse. And having 3 Barretts in the starting lineup doesn't make it easier. But it is an Ireland line-out, and Porter just whispering to... he's not whispering, obviously. I've got my telly on mute, but just telling Sheehan how to handle this one. Ireland very nearly lost their last line-out, so Sheehan's going to have to be very careful. And obviously, Wales's malfunctioning in the line-out was a big factor in them losing the plot in the second half. This time, O'Mahony claims it. Gibson Park out to Sexton. Aki. And Caelan Doris is brought to ground, but Gibson Park should be able to reclaim that. And eventually, it is a penalty against Ireland for holding onto the ball and not releasing it. Yep, not releasing. Music to the ears of the All Blacks, and they can possibly move forward and maybe even score from here. Few more comments. Yep, as Hanno said, he will join for half-time, but there are 15 people watching. Do please smash a like and sub to the channel. Stepsy saying the Argentinians wanted it more. That they did. Ireland, of course, very physical, but so are the All Blacks. You can't deny that. 2 very physical teams, and that is why I'm really glad, we're doing this watch-along, because this match really should be worthy of a final, and yet due to the muck-ups in the draw, it's effectively a quarterfinal. And in fact, it is going to be a penalty all the way for a pretty long distance right now. It's going to be taken by Geordie Barrett this time around. So from very close to the halfway line, Barrett has the chance to try and increase New Zealand's lead to 6. And obviously the Kiwis are going to look to try to win this match. They had a poor start to the tournament with a dreadful defeat to France. Eventually Barrett, well, it certainly looked to be going wide, but it curved in quite beautifully. And almost from the halfway line, Geordie Barrett has just increased New Zealand's lead to 6. So New Zealand opting to be brave and take the option of kicking for goal. And so far, they've been rewarded for their bravery. So Ireland are going to need a converted try to get into the lead. And they could have had one potentially had James Lowe not bobbled it out. But Sexton now kicking it forward. High. And Ireland claim it quite brilliantly, but New Zealand should have it back. And it is Aaron Smith who's able to release that. And that is kicked all the way up the field, but that should be claimed, and it is, easily enough. And that looks like James Lowe running with the ball now. Sexton out to Keenan. And this is some really good running, and Gibson Park is on his way. And Ringrose has the ball. Eventually released. Andrew Porter trying to bulldoze his way through. Gibson Park eventually releasing it. Kalen Doris, Bundayaki, and Ian Henderson now with the ball trying to go forward. Almost looked a forward pass, but James Lowe has it. Still needs to be released. Gibson Park. Henderson, Sexton. This is great stuff from Ireland. They're getting ever closer. Gibson Park out to Van der Fleer. Mac Hansen, Mac the Knife, as it were, the former Aussie, who is, of course, now with Ireland too. Gibson Park, Ian Henderson. Surely they wouldn't have gone for the drop goal. And have New Zealand won it back? No, they haven't. It is still with Gibson Park, who's been brought to ground, but now it has been turned over. Surveyor trying to kick it out. Well, apparently James Lowe could have tried to catch that, but I think the way the ball was spinning, he wasn't confident of handling it cleanly. Excellent work there from the New Zealand vice-captain to release pressure. And under pressure, of course, Gibson Park ended up losing the ball. But some very good ball carrying there from Andrew Porter, trying to bulldoze his way through. And the pressure isn't quite over yet, because it is now an Ireland line-out. 65 tackles made by the Irish to 19 for New Zealand, but they've missed 6 tackles to the All Blacks 1. Another line-out, comfortably won. Gibson Park, Lowe, Aki. Gibson Park, and it is Sheehan again. This time Josh Van der Fleer with his red cap. And once again, the ball is turned over, but Wayne Barnes has once again signalled a penalty, and it could very well be a penalty against Ireland once again for not releasing the ball. And you can see how delighted the Kiwis are. That's the 5th penalty that Ireland have conceded. It is not a good look from a team which is currently, according to the rankings, the number 1 team. But we've already seen one Northern Hemisphere team exit at the quarterfinal stage. Could we see another shock with the world's top-ranked team going out? And I think it's fair to say, as I've said earlier, that the winner of this tournament will definitely come from pools, either Pool A or Pool B. So the way things are going, I think Ireland have just not been able to handle the pressure. Cody Taylor with the line out now. And that is well won. Out to Aaron Smith, who releases it to Maunga. Surveyor going forward and brought to ground. Smith kicking it high in the air, but that should be claimed. James Lowe is under it, and this time he's able to claim it. And that huge left foot of his kicks it all the way but beyond the halfway line, but sadly not into touch. And Richie Maunga is able to pass it all the way out to, can't see the shirt number, a chip pass there from Beauden Barrett, which worked brilliantly. He was able to reclaim that with the uneven bounce. Geordie Barrett and Ireland have crossed over. Ireland have crossed over. Lester Fainga'anuku with the try. Brilliant piece of work, all stemming from some excellent work from Beauden Barrett with a nice chip pass that completely caught the Irish defence unawares. And New Zealand are 11-0 up. This is the kick right now. Beautifully chipped, and he anticipated the bounce magnificently before being brought to ground. And some good passing there. Geordie Barrett over to Fainga'anuku. And some good work between Fainga'anuku and Ioane. And I wonder if there were any claims about a forward pass, but that has pleased the New Zealanders to no end. And you can see the Irish are looking absolutely despondent. Irish eyes are not smiling yet. Now, of course, because it was all the way to the side, Maunga has a pretty difficult conversion here. A 47% probability with a 51-degree angle, all from 40 meters out. Reasonably close to the halfway line at this rate. And so far, Ireland have just, been really weak under the pressure. I think James Lowe can look at his own play and say that he should do better. And an absolutely brilliant kick there from Mo'unga to add 2 more points to the All Black score. And it is now Ireland 0, New Zealand 13. Irish eyes are crying. Physicality should be in the All Blacks' name, very true. Sexton now kicking it forward from the get-go, and that is expertly claimed by Beauden Barrett, but a penalty has been called. We're going to find out what the infringement is. Well, Wayne Barnes, of course, is the man in the middle. You can't say that he has a complicated plan. A little reference to that Bee Gees song sung by Maurice Gibb, may God rest his soul. So it was kicked high in the air. And I think the penalty has been called for a little bit of foul play by Frizzell, impeding Ireland from trying to go for that. Good kick, of course. 6-0 New Zealand. Good penalty. Good try. Chip kick perfection. Excellent game from the All Blacks. Yep. And it looks as though Jonathan Sexton has opted to kick for goal to try to at least get Ireland on the board and release a little bit of pressure in a way. And it should be a straightforward kick, given that it is straight ahead. I think it's fair to say that Sexton doesn't really trust his offence to try to get through the New Zealand defence without committing a few errors. But Sexton kicks them to within 10. And Ireland have some points on the board. It might not be enough. And it must be said that the World Cup has not really been kind to the Irish. But that's a story for another day. Beauden Barrett now with his first kickoff of the match. It's amazing to see how well there are so many players in the New Zealand side who can kick. Beauden Barrett from the kickoff, Geordie Barrett with a long penalty, and of course Richie Mo'unga with the job of converting a few tries. But Ireland now trying to build from the back. James Lowe with that big left foot of his, hoping to kick that into touch, but not quite going through. And Beauden Barrett says, "Thank you very much indeed, mate." And New Zealand now trying to move forward. I believe that is Mo'unga with a kick in the air, but that is well claimed this time. Hugo Keenan rising high. Trying to release the ball. Gibson Park still very much a part of it. Aki now, along the outside, brought to ground by his former countryman. Gibson Park out to Porter. And a penalty against the All Blacks this time. Going to find out what the infringement is. A little bit of respite for the Irish, who are pretty much being beat at their own game at the moment, with a great deal of physicality being the order of the day. And we had some controversy earlier on with, not so much controversy in the Wales-Argentina game. Jaco Paper, the South African referee, was replaced by an English guy. I'm going to find out who that is in a minute. But Aki trying to do some good work, but his former countryman saying, "You should never have left us, eh?" I'm sorry if there are any New Zealanders watching that. That sounded awful. Barnes almost taking a bit of a knock, but able to stand up again. Barnes, of course, when he started officiating international rugby, was not very good at his craft, but has since gone on to become one of World Rugby's most sought-after referees, and certainly very experienced indeed. So it is an Irish penalty, and Sexton has a chance to kick it further into touch. Does he go to the 22 or aim for the goal line? He's satisfied with the 22. And so the momentum tracker says it all. I do apologize for the phone going off. It's charging at the moment, but there are some alerts. And 25 people watching. Keep liking and subbing if you haven't already. The Irish bench looking on, almost despondent, but they still have a chance to get back into it. Dan Sheehan with the line out and lost. And that is something that Ireland could have ill afforded to do, but a charge down attempt. However, New Zealand do get it back. But is it with Ireland now, though? Yes, it is. Gibson Park. And you can see the ball being knocked about, but because it went backwards, it doesn't count as a knock-on. However, Gibson Park has it, passing it to Henderson from the looks of it. Gibson Park out to Sexton. Van der Fleer. Gibson Park again. Sexton. And Keenan trying to move through. Kick forward, but that should be claimed by one of the New Zealanders, and it is. So more desperation from the Irish. And you could see that they're just trying to make a few things happen, but trying to force the issue. And James Lowe, once again, trying his best, but you can see that he's a little bit overawed by the occasion. What Chelsea and Hanno fans said. Attempted kick out, but that is with Caelan Doris right now with his black cap. Black cap, of course, is the name of the New Zealand cricket team, who are doing quite well in the Cricket World Cup over here in India. But this time around, it's all about the All Blacks and the Irish. And some really good work from Ireland there, being able to recover from being knocked back. Still moving forward are the Irish. Gibson Park releasing it. Van der Fleer. Sexton. Aki. And Park trying to sell the dummy and move forward, but the New Zealand defenders are smart enough for that. And into the 7th phase, but Ireland still very much in it. Mac Hansen trying to move forward. The former Aussie. Dan Sheehan moving forward brilliantly. Gibson Park out to Ringrose. Can't seem to find the play. It's too fast, but it is Keenan now moving forward magnificently and holding onto the ball well enough. Phase 8, Gibson Park getting it out. Van der Fleer. Sent forward. Getting ever closer, the Irish. It is out to Aki, the former New Zealander. Can he cross through? Yes, he does! After 12 phases and 12 attempted tackles, Ireland eventually cross over, and it is the former New Zealander, the New Zealand-born Bundy Aki, who is able to cross through against his country of birth. Not much of a celebration from him because he knows the job has only just started, but some excellent work from Ireland, and you cannot say that it hasn't been deserved. Great work once again. Sexton all the way out to Lowe, who gets it to Aki there, selling a dummy, moving through the defense perfectly, and Bob's your uncle. Well, that is, of course, if you have an Uncle Bob. Brilliant stuff there. Fantastic ball carrying, and you can see that the Irish bench are cock-a-hoop, but the starting 15 and Aki know that the work has only just started. 28 minutes about to elapse, and Sexton has a chance to kick his team to within 3. Easy as you like. And now we've got a game on our hands, people. Well, this has certainly lived up to its billing so far, with Ireland finally coming to the party, and Bundy Aki once again showing some brilliant footwork and poise and balance and control. What a try that was. Beauden Barrett to send it forward. And that should be easily claimed this time by Caelan Doris. Porter. And Ireland are trying to move forward, and some brilliant running from Gary Ringrose. Porter once again receiving the ball. Gibson Park releasing that well, and obviously opting to kick that away and relieve some pressure, but we know that with the speed of the All Blacks, they're going to come at you really hard. And once again, an attempted chip kick, but this time the Irish should have that. No, actually, it's Barrett, in fact, who was able to knock it back, and Ireland cling on to it. An excellent bit of play there from the All Blacks, it has to be said. Mo'unga out to Taylor. Now it is with Sam Cane. Captain Cane. Is Cane able? Not quite. And Lomax, the tight head prop, brought to ground. Aaron Smith to Mo'unga. And knocked back there, but Barrett is able to reclaim that quite well. And can Barrett kick that into touch? No, he doesn't. Hugo Keenan gobbles that up. And that doesn't go into touch, sadly, for Ireland, but they're still able to move forward. Taylor now. Brought to ground. Not Taylor, Jordan rather, Will Jordan. Frizzell. Smith out to Mo'unga, who tries to chip it forward. And that is brilliantly claimed by Surveyor, but he is brought to ground well by Gibson Park. The chip kick is working really well for the New Zealanders. What a weapon it is. They probably were caught cold by the French in their opening game, but since then, the All Blacks have been red hot. And it looks as though a penalty has been called against New Zealand. We're going to find out what that is. And Caelan Doris over there winking because he knows that the pressure has now been released a little bit. Johnny Sexton trying to lead his boys on. And this New Zealand team, of course, have several players with over 100 caps to their name. Many of these players could very well be playing their last game for the All Blacks tonight as Sexton kicks that into touch at the halfway line. So it is Will Taylor who was brought to ground, number 14. And the chip pass there from Mo'unga over the head of everyone, but not too sure why the penalty was called, to be honest. Maybe Hanno can explain once he comes on, but 40 rucks won each by the team. Another line out, which is lost by New Zealand. And their line out has proved to be very, very ineffective tonight. Another kick going forward, but that actually could end up going into touch. I think that was Will Taylor who attempted to send that forward. And Caelan Doris, though, there, I think, from the looks of it, who wasn't quite able to prevent the ball from going out of harm's way. But it is the New Zealand line out with the ball having gone into touch. And it is the experienced Cody Taylor, number 2, to take it. A short line out, easily won. And a huge driving maul. Nope, that is released to Geordie Barrett, to Ione. More trouble for Ireland. The New Zealanders could cross through. Smith just has to release the ball, and whoever has it can power through. But inexplicably, the New Zealanders have been pushed back. But out to Will Taylor. And Surveyor's open, and he crosses through at the corner. Well, as I've said, the World Cup has historically not been kind to Ireland, and they have been on the receiving end of a few chastening defeats over the years. Ardie Surveyor. I don't believe they've ever reached a World Cup semi-final, and sadly, the way it's going, it looks as though that streak could very well continue. 6 minutes to go until the end of the half. And Sam Kane over there, the captain, bruising through, trying to push that forward. Nobody being able to mark Ardy Surveyor there, the New Zealand vice-captain, and he touches down expertly enough despite the best attempts of James Lowe. James Lowe apparently not going low enough. But it's another wide penalty for Mo'unga to try, conversion now for Mo'unga. And he's been excellent with his kicking so far. A 44% probability with a 53-degree angle. And this time he sends it wide, not quite able to get the curve needed to send that in. But New Zealand are now 8 ahead. And as it stands, even a converted try will not be enough to put Ireland ahead. Great work once again from the New Zealand forwards. Finding spaces and making Ireland pay. So with about 5 minutes to go until the first half ends, what do Ireland have up their sleeve? Johnny Sexton kicking it forward, easily claimed by Beauden Barrett. What a fine kicker Beauden Barrett is with both feet. It is Mac Hansen, Mac the Knife, of course. Gibson Park. And Ireland are trying their best to move the ball forward, and they have been carrying the ball very well tonight. Sheehan, Sexton, Hansen. Aki's out wide on the right, but at the moment Hansen's being brought to ground. But Gibson Park should be able to release that, and he does. You see how fast and frenetic it is? I can't even see the players' shirt numbers. Gibson Park. I believe that's Sexton who gets it out. Van der Veer with his red cap. Into phase 5 already. Gibson Park out to Sexton. And looks as though that's Taj Ben there who's been brought to ground. Gibson Park. Sexton again. Keenan. Low. And into phase 7. And Ireland have not really been good with the ball. And that is... well, that should be a penalty against New Zealanders, I think. Yep, Ireland do have the ball in their hands. Yep, a deliberate knock-on by New Zealand. I love the fact that the infringements are, of course, mentioned on the TV screen. And Johnny Sexton has the ball. Could very well be that he decides to go to touch. But hang about, Wayne Barnes has signalled for the television crew to come in. The TMO office, I believe that stands for Television Monitoring Office. And Aaron Smith's at the centre of that for some reason. The experienced All Blacks scrum half who leads the haka, of course, being of Maori descent. Well, this could very well be a game changer, folks, because the scrum half, Aaron Smith, has been sent to the sin bin. Yellow carded. And what a pivotal call that is. Because it looks as though, unless there's anyone else in the starting lineup who can play at scrum half, Christie might have to come on momentarily. For the moment, though, Johnny Sexton kicks that into touch. And that yellow card means that Aaron Smith will miss the remainder of the first half and a good part of the second. Wow. Pretty much intercepting the ball being passed through to Ireland there. And this time a short line out with Sheehan taking no chances, going into a maul. The driving maul is now being pushed to the left rather than being pushed forward. And Gibson Park taking the ball away, passing it to Aki, who of course scored Ireland's try, trying to move forward. Gibson Park out to Sheehan. Ringrose trying to release the ball. And Surveyor stealing it back, but Barnes saying, sorry, you cannot do that. Vice captain there getting into a little bit of trouble. And Sheehan can kick this further into touch. And obviously we're going to find out exactly why. I mean, obviously Smith was intercepting a pass over there. But for the moment, it's an Irish line-out. Sheehan, a short one, which ends up becoming a driving maul. Ireland are going to have to try and push forward if they want to score from here, because now is the best time to do it with New Zealand down to 14 men. And Ireland have, in fact, crossed through for a try. And they needed that. Jameson Gibson Park, the scrum half, bundling over for 5 precious points for the Irish. Yes, that all stemmed from some good work from the line-out with the maul leading to a try. Gibson Park doing some good work there. And now, right before the end of the first half, Johnny Sexton has a chance to kick Ireland to within 1 point. What a brilliant first half of rugby this has been. New Zealand were on top, but Aaron Smith being yellow carded has pretty much tilted the momentum in favour of the Irish. And does Sexton nail this conversion? Yes, he does. Ireland 17, New Zealand 18. We have a game of rugby, people. 2 tries each. 2 conversions, conversion and a penalty for New Zealand, 2 conversions for Ireland. 1 point being the difference. And I wonder if that's going to be the final act of the first half, because inexplicably my television has just switched off. But in the meantime, I'm going to take a look and see why Aaron Smith was sent to the sin bin. And yep, it was deemed to be an illegal piece of play from the scrum half. Aaron Smith, of course, stopping Jameson Gibson Park darting into the 22. So clearly an illegal interception there. And I'm going to have to sort out some problems with my television. I mean, at least now I can move around because the screen is off for a bit. But I think that should probably be it for the first half for now. Unless, of course, we do have a few... something does happen. So some commentary from people. Ireland slowly but surely getting into the groove. Excellent try from Ireland. The game is on. And that was, of course, Aki's try. Game on. Fine kick. Hannah saying Ireland should lose this game. I still think that Ireland could win, but it's going any which way at the moment. And the worst part is that at the worst possible time, my television has started to play up on me. So I'm going to have to look and see if I can possibly watch the game any other way. But Yep, that was, of course, Surveyor's try. Yeah, certainly you can't afford to put £50 on New Zealand. Chelsea fan, be very careful, mate. If you lose that money, it's not going to be a good investment. Do remember to smash a like and a sub. Good try, Ireland. Get the likes up. And definitely a good first half. And it is, in fact, half-time at the Stade de France with Ireland, of course, and New Zealand being separated only by 1 point. But at the worst possible time, my television has started to act up on me. So I'm going to have to try and sort this problem out ASAP. But what can I say? It's been a game of several ebbs and flows, some good quality rugby. Ireland making some mistakes earlier on and being punished by the All Blacks, but Ireland getting back into their groove quite brilliantly, showing how fluent they are when it comes to attacking. And New Zealand have also been really good with their movement with the ball. But yeah, great half indeed. New Zealand a little bit weak defensively, but excellent line-outs and breakdowns and rucks. Ireland, of course, have been shaky with their line-outs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sheehan is replaced by Kelleher for the second half. Excellent defence from the Irish, doing well in attack, but they've got to improve on set pieces. Well said, Mr. Trollope. Well, I'm really delighted, of course, that we decided to do a watch along for this, but at the worst possible time, my remote control is acting up on me. And that means my television is also acting up on me, so I'm going to have to look to try and see if I can... Yeah, so Hanno, if you are able to come back for the second half, you might possibly have to hold the fort because for some reason my television has played tricks on me and it's not really cooperating with me at the moment. It's the decoder and the remote control combining to make my life absolutely hell. A shame that what has been a great watch along so far has been impeded, but if you can all give me a couple of minutes, I'll try and solve this problem. Well, it took me long enough, but at least for now, touch wood, it's working better. Sometimes with remote controls, you've got to sort of... I think they're a little bit like ketchup bottles in a way. I do apologize for a little mini outburst there, but yeah, so we're back for now, and The trick is to prevent the decoder from going into standby mode. Keep, just keep pressing one of the buttons over there and just don't lose touch of it. So once again, my apologies to everyone, and we are still back on track. But of course, if Hanno is able to come back, then it's his channel. He is welcome. Goes without saying. And I will sort of keep you up to date right now with some updates from some European Championship qualifiers. Of course, Northern Ireland have no chance of going through, but they beat San Marino 3-0 today. An earlier game between the Ukraine and North Macedonia finished 2-0 in favor of the Ukrainians. I'll find out who scored the goals. It is 2-0 between Italy and Malta after half-time, and the second half has just kicked off. Hungary beating Serbia 2-1, and Bulgaria losing 2-0 to Lithuania. Slovenia crushing Finland 3-0 earlier today, and Denmark are 3-0 up against Kazakhstan after half-time with... the second half, of course, having been kicked off. And we are seeing highlights, of course, of England against Samoa, a game which England barely won by 1 point. England starting well, of course, going over for a try. Beautiful little chip pass there. And Samoa conceding a penalty from the looks of it. And Captain Fantastic, Owen Farrell, son of Andy, kicking England further ahead. Of course, Samoa are, in fact, more than have a decent rugby history. In fact, they actually knocked Wales out of contention for a quarter-final spot in 1991. That try was, in fact, subject to a TMO review, but eventually given. And Samoa making England work really, really hard and putting them into a lot of trouble. But another TMO review there coming in. And you can see that Samoa made life really hard for England. So they're going to have a lot of work to do to try and beat Fiji and secure a semi-final between Argentina, which should be a match for the ages. Jason Leonard, of course, made his debut against Argentina and has nothing but memories of that match being a classic case of handbags at dawn, a shootout at the OK Corral, whatever you want to call it. And Samoa being denied a couple of tries there through TMO, and England really being made to huff and puff before eventually blowing Samoa down. But this is an example of how certain Pacific Island teams can really knock England off their stride. Marchant over there crossing for a try to get England to within 4. Actually, that try could very well have been disallowed due to a forward pass, and it was. And with about 14 minutes to go, England was 6 points down and staring at the abyss, but eventually a penalty called against England for impeding Owen Farrell. Danny Kerr, the replacement scrum half, leaving his mark on the tournament without all the care in the world. Captain Farrell doing the rest. And you got to say that you have to be happy for Danny Kerr. ostracised from the England setup for several years under Eddie Jones, but brought back briefly under him and then brought back for good under Steve Borthwick. And Farrell finishing things off. England earning a really tiring and after an almighty struggle, they ended up beating Samoa 18-17. So, in fact, I'm going to take a look at the goal scorers for the Ukraine against North Macedonia. It was Yorhi Sudakov and Alexander Karavayev. The second one, of course, coming with almost the last kick of the game. And as for the Azzurri, Giacomo Bonaventura on 22 minutes and Domenico Bernardi in first half injury time, scoring 2 goals to take them through against Macedonia. And of course, England will be playing Italy coming up next week. If England win tomorrow, they will face Argentina again. And yep, that will, of course, be a game for the ages. Argentina in their second semi-final. The first one in 2007 was also in France. And although they lost to the eventual champion South Africa, they did... Yeah, because I do believe, if memory serves me right, England beat France to qualify for the final. No, wait, let me just take a look and see if I got my facts wrong. Yeah, it was mainly hosted by France, but Scotland and Wales provided additional venues, and the teams are, in fact, coming out for the second half. Yep. Yep, Argentina did, in fact, lose to South Africa 37-13 because England beat the host nation in the other semi-final. So I was right the first time. So now we are coming up to the second half about to start. We're going to find out if any changes have been made. Will be interesting to see, of course, what happens. And of course, Ireland will be starting the second half down to 14 men because Aaron Smith is still sin-binned, and they're still 1 point ahead. Yep, Smith still sin-binned, but he should be coming back after a few minutes. In fact, when the clock starts, he will have 5 minutes and 49 seconds still on the bench before being able to come back. So it'll be very interesting to see who takes charge of the New Zealand scrums. It will be Beauden Barrett to get the second half underway. And he does, with a nice kick all the way to the right, which is claimed by Bundyaki. And Bundyaki skills as a ball carrier have been magnificent all tournament. It would be absolutely harsh on either of these teams not to make it through to the semi-finals, but I think New Zealand might look back on their tournament and say that their opening day defeat to France cost them dearly. Although, having said that, they would have had a quarter-final against South Africa to look forward to if they had qualified as pool winners. Richie Monga kicking it high in the air. That should be claimed by Ireland easily enough, and it is. Gibson Park, the try scorer before half-time, rising high to get it. And Van der Fleer, Henderson now trying to move forward with the ball. Some pretty nervy passing, but Ireland are able to make that work. And the fullback, Barrett, claiming that well enough and sending that well into touch. Gibson Park claiming that, and we're seeing some really exciting rugby at the moment, and these 40 minutes will determine the fate of these two magnificent rugby teams. Dan Sheehan, whose lineouts were a little bit sloppy in the first half, has the responsibility of this one. He wins that easily enough. Gibson Park passing it out to Sexton. Doris. Mac Hansen. Impeded by the number 13, Ione. Charge down, as it were. New Zealand do have the ball. A huge ruck taking place right now, and it is, in fact, Will Taylor who has the responsibility of releasing the ball. He might possibly end up leading New Zealand's scrums. High kick in the air. Mac Hansen trying to claim that, but losing out. Maunga getting it out there. And Lomax, the tight head prop, going down to ground. It is Maunga who's now performing some duties. Geordie Barrett trying to send that forward, but that should be easily claimed. And that's also kicked well forward, but New Zealand have that easily enough. Beauden Barrett with another chip kick, hoping to find a teammate, but this time it is Taj Ben with the blue cap who's able to win the ball and take it forward. Sexton. And it's all the way out to Mac Hansen on the wing, who tries a chip pass of his own, but does that go into touch? Why, yes, it does, at the New Zealand 22. I call him Mac the Knife. And that certainly was a sharp pass. I'm sure that my Irish friends, Del Boy Gunner TV and Kyle Walsh Gunner and a few others are probably out watching the game right now, but if you're not, I'm thinking of you lads. And it is an Ireland line out at the New Zealand 22. Ireland have a chance to make this advantage work, and Porter once again giving Sheehan a few words of encouragement. Sheehan needs to get his throwing spot on, and Ireland need to make sure that they are on top of their game. Less than 2 minutes for Aaron Smith to come back onto the field. And this is won, but very difficultly. Van der Fleer out to Gibson Park, who releases it to Aki. Bundy Aki. Gibson Park again. Trying to chip that forward, but that should be easily claimed. But, well, Peter O'Mahony rose over there to try to get that ball, but just wasn't able to do so. And it's eventually touched down by a New Zealander, but I do believe a penalty has been called against New Zealand. Maunga there. A combination of Maunga and Retallick trying to prevent Ireland from scoring. And I do believe that Maunga has been penalised for holding Peter O'Mahony's arm back. So, or has he been penalised? Aaron Smith getting ready to come on. And if it is the New Zealand scrum, well, actually, there's no penalty against New Zealand. It was a wrong call. I do apologise for that, people. But for the moment, it is a New Zealand scrum, and it will be Richie Maunga taking charge of it, while Aaron Smith spends the last 40 seconds of his suspension watching on. It's dangerously close to New Zealand goal line, so Maunga has to get it spot on. And eventually he does, releasing it perfectly to Geordie Barrett. Maunga again. And Beauden Barrett is able to kick this into touch and release. Not quite into touch because it's claimed by Mac Hansen on the touchline. Hugo Keenan. Gary Ringrose. Not quite playing ring around the rosy, instead going straight forward, but Taj Ben, Sexton, Aki. Great work once again by Aki, the dummy working to effect. Gibson Park, Van der Fleer, Sexton, Keenan, all the way out to James Lowe on the left. Gibson Park to Sexton again. Vanderfleer. Andrew Porter. Sexton again. Bairn. And that is chipped forward, I believe, by Hansen, but well, an interesting passage of play there, seeing the ball going out for a line out. Excellent work there by Jason Lowe, trying to skip past Bowden Barrett, but Will Jordan there also providing some good support. And then that pass from Mac Hansen going forward, and Dan Sheehan there not quite able to stop that going into touch. Another moment of frustration for Andy Farrell and the Irish coaching staff, but Aaron Smith's thin bin suspension has been served and he is now back on the field. And just at the right time, because it is a scrum. Let's take a look and see if there are any comments right now. Already the comments have been piling in. And it is, of course, Aaron Smith whose first action after returning to the field will be to take charge of this scrum. Reasonably close to New Zealand goal line once again, but and Barnes calls a penalty against Ireland, I think. Or is it going to be against New Zealand? We'll find out what's going on here. We've actually got someone here on the channel who I know quite well, Ant from Ant's Leicester fan channel. Good evening to you, mate. I hope you're enjoying the match. If you're watching it, it is in fact a penalty against Ireland. So Geordie Barrett should be able to kick this into touch, and he does so right at the halfway line. Surrey Fitz. You can't see it playing live here. It is a watch along, but you can watch the television and keep your telly on mute and listen to my commentary, amateurish as it is. And Ant confirms that, saying no, it would break copyright rules. Listen, Ant, mate, if you would like to come on this channel to give your views after the game, I'd be more than happy to send you the link on Twitter or on Instagram, wherever you are. Do please come on and have your say. We would love to hear from you, mate. Chelsea fan also welcoming you to the stream. And Hanno saying he's watched a few live streams of you and a few more introductions here. And of course, going for Ireland, but pretty chilled either way. At the moment, the All Blacks have the ball with Cody Taylor going to ground and Aaron Smith now back in the thick of things, trying to release the ball. And it is, I believe, Geordie Barrett going to ground. Aaron Smith releasing it out to Retallick, who is able to find the try scorer. I want to get his name right, Fanga'anuku. New Zealand bruising forward, moving forward into phase 6 right now. And Ione releases that. And once again, it is Smith who releases it out to Bowden Barrett. Frizzell trying to move forward. Smith now showing some really good ball carrying skills of his own, and it is now with it was with Scott Barrett momentarily, but now Ireland are moving. New Zealand are moving forward. Phase 11 right now. Smith once again releasing the ball, and out to Frizzell. There's some really good play from New Zealand, but as Hanno said, defense has been Ireland's strength. But New Zealand definitely looked much faster and more mobile with the ball at their feet. And that's what you get. But Ireland win the ball back. Andrew Porter passing it to Bundyaki. And James Lowe now getting that from Hugo Keenan. And some great movement from the Irish. End-to-end stuff at its finest with about half an hour to go. Mac Hansen. And Taj Furlong there, the tight head prop. Hadn't seen too much of him until now. Gibson Park out to Ringrose. Keenan. Vanderfleer. James Lowe moving forward. Great stuff out on the left from the Irish. Gibson Park out to Ringrose. Caelan Doris. Could this be Doris's day? I had to bring that in. Excellent movement once again, and Ireland once again moving forward. Henderson now taking a tumble and moving forward with the ball. Great stuff. Still not quite releasing it, and it is a penalty to New Zealand because Ireland, I believe, has been holding on to the ball, not able to release it, and that should be... Yep, not releasing the ball in time, and that is once again a pity because it brings the ball back into the All Black hands. And pressure released with the ball being kicked into touch. Round about time for Ireland to make a substitution, and we're going to find out who it will be. Yeah, I'd love to, but not home actually at my dad's, so don't have a laptop to record. Don't worry about it. Next time we do hope to have you on, and in the meantime, enjoy the rest of the rugby. Come on, New Zealand. Of course, Hanno, being South African, supports the Springboks, but is obviously cheering for the Irish to win. And Furlong, of course, going off injured, so it will be the backup tie head prop, Finlay Bealham, who comes on in his place, number 18. New Zealand line out right now with Cody Taylor to take it. A short line out, easily won. Retallick claiming that, and New Zealand moving forward. A brilliant run there from Richie Mo'unga. Shades of Jonah Lomu, passing it out to Will Taylor, unopposed, and he crosses over, and New Zealand are 6 points ahead. Could be 8. Richie Mo'unga there. The fly half. What brilliant speed. And could this be the move that breaks the Irish hearts? Will Irish eyes be crying, or can they find a way back into this? Brilliant passing there, and Mo'unga bursting through the Irish defence with a brilliant turn of speed, passing it out to Will Taylor, who moves all the way to the side, and bingo is his name-o. Attacking rugby at its best, splitting the defence there, selling Josh van der Fleer a dummy, and Will Taylor gobbling that up and crossing over. And once again, it could be heartbreak for the Irish, but we will find out. They've already missed a conversion. And Mo'unga, of course, has been the one. This time, of course, it's Geordie Barrett who ends up taking it because Mo'unga missed that conversion earlier on. Barrett, of course, converting that magnificent penalty close to the halfway line earlier on in the first half. He's now got a pretty difficult penalty to try and convert in the second half. And does he get that through? Yes, he does. Ireland 17, New Zealand 25. And with about 25 or so minutes to go, could this be the straw that breaks the Irish backs? Or forwards? Or both? Yep, exactly 25 minutes to go. And Sam Whitelock sitting over there on the bench. Quite happy, I would imagine, with the way his team have played, but a little bit frustrated not to be in the starting lineup. I suppose you could say that, in retrospect, benching him in favour of Retallick and Scott Barrett has proved to be the right decision. But I'm sure Whitelock will come on with some time left to try and close out the game. But if Ireland do manage to score, try and get back to within 1, then it's still game on. And this is going to be a real test of Irish character here. And of course, with a New Zealand connection, I do remember Warren Gatland arrogantly saying that the top teams have no business blaming the draw. It's just the luck of it, and you've just got to play the hand you've been dealt. Obviously, looking forward to another semi-final for Wales, but Argentina said, no, you don't. And can Ireland make the most of it? An attempted kick forward, but Beauden Barrett reclaiming that perfectly. Barrett, of course, proving what a linchpin he is to this All Black team. And I know that Hanno has said that New Zealand have been a little bit weak on defence, but so far they've proven to be stronger in that area. And that piece of play from Richie Mo'unga and Will Taylor there really, split Ireland right open. 118 to 116 tackles made, 13 tackles missed by Ireland, 18 by New Zealand. Wonderful end-to-end stuff, and the game is still not over yet. And I stick to my prediction that whoever wins the semi-final between the Pool A and Pool B teams will go on to win the tournament. I mean, a lot was expected of Wales, but they ended up being found wanting. Although Argentina played magnificently, I do believe they still have a bit of a soft centre. And Ireland do have some problems now with, is it Hugo Keenan or Mac Hansen, who's currently having an injury at the moment. Well, they've already made one change with Taj Furlong being brought off for Bielam. Could very well be that another change is made. I'm a little bit surprised that Kelleher hasn't replaced Sheehan, given how the lineouts haven't exactly been Ireland's forte tonight. No changes to the All Blacks as of yet. And it is, in fact, Mac Hansen who looks to be injured and is going off right now. So we're going to find out who his replacement is. But for the moment, Ireland do have a chance to try to come back. And his replacement is, in fact, the number 23, Jimmy O'Brien. Intercepted brilliantly, though, by Aaron Smith. What a piece of play that was. They missed him in that in the last few minutes of that first half, did the All Blacks. And now that he's back, the All Blacks are running right. I remember Will Smith saying the good guys dress in black. Could this be the start of a revival for New Zealand rugby? They've looked out of sorts in a certain number of games coming into the tournament, but they've certainly picked the right time to come back. But now they've got to deal with an Irish attack with Ringrose going to ground. And Andrew Porter getting that. Bondiaki now. Excellent ball carrying from him, but the New Zealanders probably have had a game plan for him. James Lowe. Going low. Gibson Park out to, couldn't see the shirt number there, but we're into phase 5 of the rucks. Gibson Park out to Sexton, to Keenan, to Van der Fleer from the looks of it, yep, with the red cap. And that should be a penalty against New Zealand for not allowing the ball to be released. Still more than 20 minutes to go, and the comments are flying in at the moment. I'm going to try and get to every one of you if I can. You see that interception by Aaron Smith, nearly, promising a great deal. Brilliantly leaping and snatching it there from Peter O'Mahony. Great stuff from the scrum half there. And it looks as though Sexton might opt to kick for goal instead of going for another try. And he is. And about 21 minutes to go until the end of the game. Should be a straightforward kick, which should get Ireland to within 5 if he nails it. The shot clock's ticking down. It's not quite straight, but still it should be manageable enough for a guy of his talent. But if he misses this, Ireland will be in trouble. And it's wide! And the looks on the Irish fans' faces say it all. So, yeah, so apparently Ant did play rugby to a pretty decent level. And Ian Henderson goes off to be replaced by the number 19, Joe McCarthy. And Jack Conan will be coming on to replace what looks like Josh van der Fleer. Geordie Barrett now kicks that forward with Ireland still enjoying an 8-point advantage. New Zealand rather, enjoying an 8-point advantage. And Ireland through Caelan Doris trying to move forward. Taj Ben getting it out to Sexton, to Aki. And Sam Whitelock does, in fact, come on to replace the blindside flanker Frizzell. So he sees some involvement in this tournament. In this match, rather. I think Ian Foster wants Whitelock to come on and add a little bit of size to the back row to try and prevent Ireland from moving forward. Excellent pass out to Jimmy O'Brien. Gibson Park, Sexton. And that is McCarthy, who goes to ground. Gibson Park out to Sexton again. James Lowe into phase 7 already, and Ireland are moving quite brilliantly. An attempt to reclaim the ball, but Ireland say no, and it is Conan. Not quite the barbarian, but certainly very powerful. McCarthy. Gibson Park out to Sexton, who tries a chip pass of his own, but with nobody able to reclaim that is easily gobbled up by Geordie Barrett. And Sexton will look back on that missed penalty and wonder, has he cost his team a spot in the semi-finals? Yeah, so Sure Fritz saying a big All Blacks fan all the way from South Africa. Ooh, excellent line break. Not to a high level anymore. Yep, Chelsea fan leaving the stream. And excellent piece of play that from Ringrose, but the chip pass from Sexton not quite working, and Geordie Barrett, right place at the right time, saying, thank you very much indeed, mate. And Kyle Knott also coming in. Welcome to the channel to you. Ireland have looked a bit flat. We've got 30 people watching. Do please smash the like and subscribe. Irish line out, claimed by Bernay, out to Sexton. And it is Lowe, who passes it out to Jimmy O'Brien, who tries to move forward. Pretty much stopped in his tracks by a combination of Beauden Barrett and Fainga'anuku. But Ireland still moving forward. And it looks as though Conor Murray has replaced Gibson Park. Some fresh legs needed, maybe some fresh ideas. Although has... No, it looks as though Gibson Park might have gone off. But Conor Murray, of course, very experienced. And Hugo Keenan bursting forward through the defence, but being held back. Conor Murray out to Sexton. Porter. Ringrose. This is great stuff from the Irish. Porter. Conor Murray. Sexton. Low. He's got Keenan next to him and Dan Sheehan out on the right. Well, he had, but now, of course, it's Murray passing it into Bealham, who takes a tumble forward. Murray again. Out to Sexton. Ringrose, number 13. Will it be unlucky 13? Sexton. McCarthy. Into phase 11 right now. Sexton. Great stuff from Ireland once again. Out to Lowe this time. Keenan also being a big part of that. Murray to Sexton to Murray. Some good interplay between them. And looks like a penalty being called against New Zealand. We're going to find out why. Probably off feet from the looks of it. But Sexton has a chance to kick it into touch at the 5-yard line, and he does exactly that. Once again, some really bruising rugby from both teams. Ant saying, going to be tough for Ireland to get back into this, but you never know. You never know. They always say you'll never beat the Irish. 54 people watching the stream. Absolutely magnificent. Thank you all for coming in. And you can't miss big moments like that in these types of games. Couldn't agree with you more, mate. I mean, Ireland are going to look back on this game and say, you know, the big moments have passed them by, and that's pretty much cost them. Yeah, I'm not too sure who trapped is. Certainly looks tapped from the looks of it. And Ireland, New Zealand are making a couple of changes. It is Tamati Williams and Fletcher Newell, the backup props, who are coming on for De Groot and Lomax. So the front row being refreshed a little bit, but Cody Taylor, the hooker, is still on. If he needs a rest, it will be Dane Coles to come on and replace him. And Leonard Brown is coming on. I believe he might be replacing Beauden Barrett, who has had a magnificent game tonight. We'll confirm that in a minute. No, he's come on for the try scorer, Fanganuku. The first try scorer. And it is an Irish line out from the 5-yard line. And obviously, Sam Whitelock will have a big role to play, the big man, in trying to claim it, but he misses out on that. And have Ireland crossed over? Yes, they have. In fact, a penalty try has been awarded, so we're going to find out what that's all about. But for the moment, Ireland are still very much back in it. This has been a brilliant, brilliant game so far. And because it's a penalty try, in fact, 2 extra points have been awarded. Cody Taylor receiving a yellow card, the hooker. So Ireland once again down to 14 men. Won expertly by Taj Bain, despite the intentions of the big man, Sammy Whitelock. A huge driving maul sending the team forward. And not too sure why Taylor was sent to the sin bin there. We will find out maybe from BBC Sport, or possibly Hanno can provide some insight into that. Just have to refresh the page. BBC Sport can be a little bit incompetent at times, but Ireland are now back to within 1. And Cody Taylor, the hooker, is sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes. A short kick there from Beauden Barrett. Ireland, of course, kick it back in the New Zealand half, but that should be easily claimed by Monga, I think that is. New Zealand once again kicking that forward. And eventually Dan Sheehan is replaced by the number 16, Ronan Kelleher. But still some really good rugby. Will Taylor, scorer of New Zealand's 3rd try. And we've already got some comments flying in. Hanno looking a little bit antsy there in the comments, but this has been a fine game for the ages, and I'm really, really delighted that we could have a watch along with as many views as we had. Thank you all who've joined in tonight, and I'm really glad that I've been able to bring this to you. And I'm also glad that my internet has been working. So New Zealand have decided to bring on their replacement hooker. It is, of course, Dane Coles who's coming on, and we're going to find out who he's replacing. Could it very well be that New Zealand in discipline costs them a spot in the semi-finals? And of course, yep, it is in fact Dane Coles who comes on for the number 4, Retallick, of course. Brodie Retallick, who's had a good game tonight. And Cody Taylor's not looking a very happy chappy sitting on the bench. Twice New Zealand have been down to 14 men. And whenever New Zealand have been down a man, they've ceded a pretty big advantage. But Aaron Smith, who of course was one of those men sent to the sin bin in the first half and for a bit of the second half, is now back on the field. And clearly he's having a bit of a magisterial role in how the rest of this game pans out. 15 minutes to go. And Chelsea fan, you've got good reason to want a New Zealand win. That'll teach you, mate, to bet that much money on a rugby match, especially a game like this. Still a New Zealand scrum. Ireland probably not cooperating at the moment, but this time the scrum moves forward. Aaron Smith passing it out. And Wayne Barnes once again calls for an infringement. And a decent way for time to be eaten up, perhaps, but the clock is still running. And of course, unlike in football, as Hanno has mentioned, there are no stoppages in play, unless it's for something very, very serious, of course. So normally when it goes a little bit over 80 minutes or gets to 80 minutes, that is when the game will end. And it looks as though New Zealand do, in fact, have a penalty. So Geordie Barrett has the chance to kick New Zealand to 4 ahead. And a scrum penalty against Ireland is the last thing they would have wanted. Irish rugby royalty in the form of Keith Wood watching from the stands tonight. So we've got Hanno in the building. How's it, Bert? Enjoying the game? And Barrett misses it. So once again, we're still within 1. It's all happening out there at the Stade de France. And I thought we had Hanno in, but I think his Wi-Fi is playing a few tricks on him, maybe. I just want to find out why the penalty try was awarded. Yeah, so once again, an Irish kick, but this time claimed brilliantly by Mac Hansen. And Wayne Barnes once again very much in the thick of the action, but we're going to find out what the call is. It's another penalty for New Zealand. And basically, it's a pretty poor piece of play there, it has to be said. You don't do that. You don't impede Geordie Barrett's attempt to try and claim that. You just don't. Irish indiscipline now costing them. And this kick provides a second chance for Geordie Barrett to get New Zealand to a 4-point lead. 67% success rate. He missed the previous one barely a minute ago, but he has a second chance to redeem himself, rather. And redeem himself he does. Ireland 24, New Zealand 28. So it's a question of who wants it more. And it is, in fact, Gibson Park who's off the field. So Conor Murray will be handling scrum half duties for Ireland for the rest of the game. Cody Taylor still on the bench for the remaining 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Easily snapped up there by Aone. Aaron Smith trying to get it and release the ball, and he does well enough. Sam Cane going to ground. The captain's also been quite immense tonight. Huge high kick there from Beauden Barrett, but that should be well claimed. Johnny Sexton there. doing some great work to Conor Murray, who tries a chip kick. But Beauden Barrett saying, not tonight, mate, once again. And I believe that's a penalty awarded to Ireland. New Zealand once again holding on to the ball, not releasing it. And it is, in fact, Dane Cones who has come on. I mean, he already came on, of course, while Taylor was, in fact, suspended. It is, in fact, an Irish line-out. And Ronan Kelleher there being spoken to by Andrew Porter. You could cut the tension with a knife. Mac the knife, as it were. Won by Ireland, and we go into a driving maul. It's moving for a bit towards the centre, but Ireland are pushing forward magnificently. New Zealand trying to hold back. Have they crossed over? No, they haven't. A wonderful driving maul taking the Irish to the try line, but I believe Kelleher had the ball in his hand but wasn't quite able to touch down. And so no try is the decision. Great work there from Geordie Barrett, and Aaron Smith is loving every minute of that. And how crucial could that be indeed? But an attempted kick out does not go into touch, obviously, and Caelan Doris, of course, trying to catch that cleanly, but failing. Hanno loving that too. And with 8 minutes to go, it's very much anybody's game, and you get the feeling that the next try to be scored could end up winning it. "122 ball carries to the All Blacks 99, and they've had so much more in terms of meters made, but stats don't tell the story. What tells the story is Ireland choking under pressure during the big moments, and New Zealand's greater all-round experience coming to the fore. This has been great stuff by both teams, and it's tragic that one of these teams will not make the semi-finals, but it is what it is. And I think it's fair to say that given the arrogance of Warren Gatland's comments, it's quite fitting that Wales won't be there. I do apologise to all Wales fans who might be watching tonight, but it is what it is. But while one Kiwi goes home, there are about 30 other Kiwis who will be going through, not to mention the backroom staff. And a huge ruck going on right now. A few phases already. And Sam Cane, the captain, trying to pierce through, but also being brought to ground. Aaron Smith releasing the ball. Aaron Smith kicking that high in the air. That should be well claimed by Barrett, and it isn't claimed for once. And Jimmy O'Brien intercepting that, but being brought into touch. Coming up to 6 minutes left. Yep, thanks to everyone who's joined the stream and the chat. This has been obviously a really, really good one, and I'm waiting to hear from Hanno at the end of this game, no matter what happens. It looks as though Cody Taylor won't be coming back onto the field. Dane Coles has in fact replaced him on line-out duty. But now we're into a driving maul in the middle of the park. And New New Zealand trying to move forward. And there's a replacement for New Zealand. Papa Lil replacing Captain Kane, number 20 on for 7. Well, actually, Taylor has come back into the team, but he has replaced Rotelic. So it will be, from looks of it, it will be Coles who will take up those duties. Rotelic had, in fact, gone off earlier, I believe, for... Rotelic had gone off earlier for Coles, and now, of course, Taylor is back on, but Coles will be taking over line-out duties. Amazing how, there's so much... in terms of versatility with regard to positional play. And, Will Taylor, of course, who scored Ireland's 3rd try, had designs on getting his hands onto that, but the Irish said no. Jimmy O'Brien getting it to Sexton, and what will Johnny Sexton do? He has 4.5 minutes to save his World Cup dream, and I'm sure he will not want to end his international career on the losing side, but he has, of course, played his part in what has been a brilliant, brilliant game. And Ireland are making another change. Andrew Porter, who has been magnificent for Ireland this tournament, to be replaced by David Kilcoyne. New Zealand claiming that easily enough. Beauden Barrett sending that forward. Nobody really can be expected to get onto the end of that. And it is Sexton who, in fact, claims it and touches down on his own goal line. And Ireland now have a chance to try and release a little bit of pressure. Sexton now sending that forward, and New Zealand rising high to claim that. I believe that was that might have been Will Taylor who got that, but it is Papali who tries to move forward. Aaron Smith now sending that out. Geordie Barrett being brought to ground, and that is Ione, the number 13, who did some brilliant work with Fainganaku for that first try. Into phase 5 right now. And I remember predicting Wales to win, but Wales went out. Is another prediction of mine about to go south? Jimmy O'Brien rising high to claim that. 3 minutes left. Can Ireland salvage their World Cup tournament? Aki. Omani. Conor Murray getting it out. Beelam. Conor Murray passing it out to Sexton once again, to Aki. Aki has been one of the stars of this tournament, and it would be tragic for him to exit the tournament at the expense of his former countrymen at that. Ireland once again moving forward magnificently. New Zealand holding firm, but Ireland do have some men waiting to try and take the ball forward. Conor Murray. Sexton again. Doris. It might not be Doris's day, but there's still a little bit of time. I believe that is Murray once again out to Kelleher, who gets it to... I can't see who that is at the moment, but Murray eventually gets the ball, and that is McCarthy. Joey McCarthy there. James Lowe pretty much being grabbed around his ankles there by Barrett. I just don't know which Barrett that was. Was that Beauden or Geordie? We'll find out later on. Into phase 13. Murray out to Sexton again, to Ringrose. Jack Conan. Risky passing, but Ireland do manage to get on the end of those. Kelleher. Keenan. Into phase 15. Conor Murray. Sexton. Jack Conan. Also brought to ground. Heading into the last minute of the game, can Ireland salvage something? If they score, it could very well be that Ireland snatch it at the death. Kilcoyne. It's now out to Jack Conan, out wide. Trying to move forward with the ball. Conor Murray now. McCarthy, Ringrose. And it's dropped, but reclaimed by Aki. Into the last 30 seconds. This is pulsating stuff from both teams. Joe McCarthy. Rowan Kelleher trying to punch his way through. Conor Murray. Hugo Keenan. Was that a forward pass? No, it wasn't. Jimmy O'Brien trying to move forward into the last seconds. Exton. McCarthy. This could very well be Ireland's last chance. Time's practically up, but play is allowed to continue. Aki. Jack Conan. Phase 25. What a blistering effort this has been by both teams. I think Ireland will look back on this game and say that the mistakes they made at the big set pieces have cost them dearly. But there's still hope. Jason Lowe receiving that pass from Hugo Keenan and going to ground. I think Wayne Barnes is doing the sensible thing and trying to allow this ruck phase to move forward for as long as it possibly can. But this will be the last play of the game, definitely. Ireland still have it. Kelleher. If New Zealand stop this play, Ireland are out. Gary Ringrose now going to ground. Conor Murray. James Lowe. Jimmy O'Brien. Phase 30. Ireland are still not giving up. They've been a credit to this tournament so far, but could this very well be their last dance? Caelan Doris powering through. Taj Byrne, what a tournament he's had. Bundy Aki. What a fine tournament he's had too as a ball carrier. Conor Murray. Still moving forward. Was that a knock-on? No, it wasn't. Jack Conan surviving. David Kilcoyne pushing through. Jack Conan, once again, we're now into phase 36. Ireland are not giving up. New Zealand are not. And have they intercepted it? Yep, they have. And after that titanic struggle, it is now all over bar the shouting. Irish eyes are crying tonight. Their World Cup is over. Wait, no. Play's still being allowed to continue from the looks of it. Why is the clock still ticking? Well, we see the All Blacks celebrating. But could it now be all over by the shouting? We're going to find out. You can see the tears starting to flow from Andrew Porter's eyes. Finlay Bealham looking absolutely despondent. Peter O'Mahony crouched down. What is going on out there at the Stade de France? Well, I believe that is full time. And you can see Bundy Aki absolutely distraught and in tears. And so the headline is New Zealand shock the world #1 Irish team and secure their spot in the semi-finals of the World Cup. A touching moment there between Geordie Barrett and Bundy Aki. Aaron Smith also trying to console him. And you've got to feel for the Irish at the moment. They've given their all. They provided some magnificent rugby in this tournament. But once again, they are the second pool winners to be knocked out of the quarterfinal stage. And this has been a game for the ages. I've said it. This is a game worthy of a final. It is absolute sacrilege that it ended up being a quarterfinal due to the incompetence of the draw involved. But it is what it is. And much again echoed. Can we get to 520 subscribers? Only one sub needed. Stressful last few minutes. Ciro Fritz saying New Zealand, we are the storm. I'm not too sure that Hanno might like you very much, mate, given that you live in South Africa but cheer for the All Blacks. But, you know, it is what it is. Hanno obviously delighted. 7 times in the quarterfinals and 0 times qualifying for the semi-final. Look, son, but that's really, really harsh. They provided some magnificent rugby. It was a game which I expected them to win. I thought they had the momentum. But New Zealand have come back magnificently, and I think it has to be said that the decision to start Sam Whitelock on the bench in favour of Retallick and Scott Barrett proved to be the right decision in the end. I think maybe Whitelock was considered to be a little bit too lumbering for the game, perhaps. But this is, of course, the headline. New Zealand have, in fact, shocked the world #1 Irish team, and they qualified for the semi-finals at the expense of the Green Army. And sadly, due to the stinginess of my carrier, we won't get to hear from Johnny Sexton later on. But he has had a magnificent career for the Republic of Ireland, winning 6 Nations titles and Grand Slams. Sadly, not quite being able to get it together when it came to the World Cup. But for Ireland, the wait goes on. And will they get another chance with a new group of players? You do have to believe that the new players will take them closer someday. So I'm going to wait for Hanno to come back on the stream and give a few thoughts. And I also want to say thank you to everyone who's joined this stream. It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have done this and to have brought this to you. Big up to everyone who's joined in, and I am going to give you all your credits from the very beginning. Stepsy Hatter, thank you for coming in. It's been good to be with you on the cricket streams as well. Nippon also joining in saying hello. I'm sure you must have been going for the All Blacks. I'm not too sure. Chelsea fan, of course, is always a very big supporter of our channel. Wonderful to have you on as always. And we've had some new people coming in, of course. Ants Leicester fan channel. If again, we will be doing a few more watch-alongs for some of the really big games. And once again, we would dearly, dearly love to have you come on and give your thoughts. You've played rugby to a certain level, so hearing what you have to say would be absolutely terrific. Ciro Fritz, thank you for coming in as well. I'm sure you might be happy with the result today. And of course, New Zealand South Africa semi-final will certainly be one for the ages if South Africa can get the better of the host nation tomorrow evening. And any new ones coming in? Kyle Knott, no relation to the great England wicketkeeper Alan Knott, I'm sure, or maybe you could be, but thank you for coming in. And I think we might have had someone trying to spam the board. I haven't let him in. And yeah, all of you who've been a part of the chat so far have been terrific. I really want to thank you for being a part of this stream. You've made this what it is. The Ireland-Scotland match obviously had 1.9K views. I hope this one gets a similar amount of views. But regardless of the views it gets, it's been absolutely brilliant. I am going to wait for Hanno to try and come back if he possibly can, if his Wi-Fi is working. In fact, just give me a minute and I'll try and get in touch with him. And certainly I've got a good lineup tomorrow with England playing Fiji and France playing South Africa. And Chelsea fan is predicting that England and South Africa should win tomorrow. A lot of people are thinking that South Africa might have the better of France. I know that France have played some very exciting rugby with their young team, but South Africa aren't the defending world champions for nothing. And England, of course, lost to Fiji at Twickenham before taking the trip across the channel to play in the tournament. But a different game, different set of circumstances. I remember saying when Fiji lost to Portugal that their ball handling errors could be what prevents them from going further in the tournament. And that could very well be how it might prove. But I'll just be back in not even 60 seconds. Give me a few minutes. I can't believe I said give me a few minutes. That was a dreadful Freudian slip there. But I want to get in touch with Hanno and find out if he's able to come back. If he can't come back, then I will end this stream. But this has been another wonderful stream, and I'm really glad that I was able to, bring this to you on his behalf, of course. And well, he did ask me, of course, on Instagram if I was able to host it, and sadly, my phone's battery was low, so I had to put it to charge. Yes, I just sent him a message. Hopefully, he'll be able to receive that, and we will see if he can possibly come back. But if he can't, I will end the stream. And but boy, this has been an exciting game, and absolutely tragic that a team of Ireland's quality has had to exit the tournament at this stage. But that is sport for you, as Gatland himself said. And I'm sticking with my prediction that the winner will come from either Pool A or Pool B. As well as England have done so far, they looked ordinary against Samoa. And even if they should beat Fiji, they could end up struggling against Argentina in the semi-final. Fiji also do have some chance if they can cut down their mistakes. And I've just gotten word from Hanno that the stream will be ended. So it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes of absolute quality. I do apologize, of course, for the little outburst in the middle when I thought my TV was, acting up on me. But all's well that ends well in the end. And we've had a terrific stream. And I'm really, really delighted that we've had so many views and so many chats. And final comment. Yep, final comment says, good stream. Thank you. See you next time, mate. And take care, everyone. And that is how we will end it. Take care of yourselves. God bless each and every one of you. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the sport on offer. The World Cup in cricket continues with some interesting games, of course. And we will be having 2 titanic matches from the rugby tomorrow. As far as the football is concerned, it's still International Week. I know it may be meh for some people. I do love international football. But obviously, with 2 World Cups taking place back to back, those World Cups are where the action will be, right here on the corner. And of course, big up as well to Hanno for hosting the India-Pakistan Watchalong, which was apparently decent from the looks of it. Couldn't really see it because I was out. But tomorrow should be certainly a titanic day in the Rugby World Cup in France. And I'm certainly looking forward to following either match. If we do manage to have a watch-along for the France-South Africa game, you can definitely bet that will be very hotly awaited and certainly very well watched. But otherwise, as usual, take care of yourselves. Enjoy your Sunday. Don't do anything that I or Hannah wouldn't do. But for now, it is farewell to thee and good night and God bless to each and every one of you. Cheers.